everyone, this is CA Prachi Parekh. In today's video, we are going to analyze the provisions of Section 115BAA and Section 115BAB, which were introduced by the Taxation Laws Amendment Act in 2019. Since it's the return filing season and these corporates, if at all they wish to opt in for any of the schemes given out by this section, this is the time when they would be exercising their choice. A quick recap of the various conditions and eligibility criteria as given out by these sections would make sense at this juncture. Let us now go on to make a comparative analysis of both the sections 115BAA and section 115BAB, which came as a result of the amendment in October 2019, which brought about two new regimes in respect of corporate taxation. Taking the discussion further, on the slide before you is a tabulated comparison of both the new sections which were introduced in the context of corporate assessees in October 2019 as a part of the Taxation Laws Amendment Act. Under these two tax regimes which are introduced for corporate assessees, the corporate assessees can choose to opt for a lower rate of taxation in respect of their income, subject to the fulfillment of certain conditions. Let us have a look at the various conditions and the applicability to corporate assessees. First, let us analyze section 115BAB. The applicability of this particular section is in the context of newly incorporated domestic companies which are engaged in the manufacture or production of any article or thing, as also related research and development. The rate of tax which is applicable for these entities is 15%, which is to be increased by a mandatory rate of surcharge at 10%. Let us note here that this surcharge is mandatorily applicable and it has no connection whatsoever with the amount of income which is earned by such a corporate assessee. Applying the education cess, the effective tax rate in case of these companies goes on to 17.16%. The further condition is that the company should have commenced its manufacturing activity between the period beginning on or after 1st of October 2019 up to the 31st of March 2023. The provisions of minimum alternate tax or MAT are not applicable in the context of these companies. Now comes the question, when is this option to go in for this particular concessional regime of tax to be exercised? So this particular option has to be exercised by the corporate assessee in the year in which the first of its returns will be filed, typically before the due date of filing return. It is also important to note that once a corporate assessee opts for this concessional rate of tax regime, this option exercised as such is not reversible. Going further, if at all there is any violation of any particular conditions by the assessee, he may be thrown out of this particular concessional regime, but suo motu there would not be any option to not go in for the concessional regime on the part of the assessee. There is a list of there are certain exemptions and deductions which are not allowed to corporate assessees who go in for this concessional regime. Any particular losses or deductions which cannot be availed will not be allowed to be carried forward insofar as they pertain to the impermissible deductions and exemptions. Depreciation under section 32 would be allowed, as it is usually allowed in the case of other assessees as well. If at all there is any failure to comply with the continuing conditions on the part of the assessee from that particular previous year in which the violation happened, the provisions of this section would not be applicable. In this case, the company assessee would be taxable under the normal provisions of Income Tax Act, or they can go in for the scheme under section 115BAA if conditions of that particular section are complied with. Let us now do a quick recap of the similar conditions for section 115BAA. Now the applicability here is to any domestic company. So even the existing domestic companies can opt in for this particular regime. The tax rate here is slightly higher than what is given out by 115BAB. The tax rate in this particular section is 22%, again increased by the mandatory surcharge of 10%, which would be applicable irrespective of the income component of that particular company assessee. And as to say, there's no threshold in this case for the applicability of surcharge, as is usually the case. Increasing this by the education cess, the effective rate of tax in case of these companies comes to 25.168%. There is no other eligibility criteria as to the period of commencing of manufacturing or production as far as these companies are concerned, since it's an already existing company. Again, the provisions of minimum alternate tax are not applicable. However, since it's an existing company, if at all it is falling in the MAT regime in any of the earlier years and has some unutilized MAT credit to its disposal, an informed call should be taken evaluating whether it should first go and exhaust its available MAT credit or opt in for this particular concessional scheme of taxation. Just as in the case of the previous section, here also the option to go in for this concessional regime has to be exercised in the first year for in the year in which the due date for return filing is there. As in, so if a company decides to go in for this particular scheme in the current assessment year, at the time of filing their return of income, they should say that they are opting for this particular concessional scheme. Once the assessee chooses to go in for this particular scheme, this option is suo motu not reversible to the assessee. Again, if there is any violation on the part of the assessee, as we covered in the earlier section, then the provisions of this particular new section would not apply and he would be covered by the normal provisions of tax. Again, the list of impermissible exemptions and deductions would apply to this entity as well, and any losses resulting from those kind of exemptions and deductions that are not permissible would not be allowed to be set off and carry forward. So this was a quick bird's eye view of all the conditions and the other criteria which these companies need to fulfill in order to go in for this concessional regime. Let us move on to the next slide. And this particular slide contains a list of those exemptions and deductions which are to be foregone if at all the company assessee decides to opt in for this particular schemes of taxation. So what all has to be foregone here by the corporates? So deduction under section 10AA, which is for units established in special economic zones. 32(1)(2)(a), which are the provisions relating to additional depreciation. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that the normal depreciation under section 32 can be continued to be availed by these assessees. However, additional depreciation under these provisions would not be applicable to these entities. Nextly, the deduction under section 32AD, which is for investment in new plant and machinery in notified backward areas. Section 35(1), which pertains to donations made for approved scientific research associations, etc., would not be permissible. Likewise, any expenditure which is incurred on in-house research also would not be deductible. 35AD, which is deduction in respect of capital expenditure for certain specified businesses. We have a list of about 14 businesses covered in this particular section. The corporate assessee would not be allowed or would not be eligible to go in for deduction under this section if at all he opts for that particular concessional rate scheme. Section 33AB, Section 35CCC, Section 35CCD, all are these specified deductions which are there under Chapter 4D of the Income Tax Act would not be considered while computing income if at all the corporate has decided to opt in for either of the two concessional schemes as we discussed. The important part here is Chapter 6A deductions. So Chapter 6A deductions which are pertaining to Part C of Chapter 6A, which are related to income linked deductions. Those would not be available to such corporate assessors. So if at all there is any deduction which is contained in the payment part, so for example, if any payment is made for a donation is made for a political party, etc., those deductions are in place, but any of the income linked deductions are not to be allowed for these companies. Exception here is in the case of 80JJAA, which is deduction in respect of additional employment with expenses incurred on additional employment. So except 80JJAA, any other deduction which falls in Part C of Chapter 6A will not be allowed to such corporate entities. So this was a list of the various deductions, exemptions which are to be foregone by these corporates. Let's move on to the next slide. In the table which we saw in the first slide, there was a comparative analysis of both the sections. Now, in this particular slide, we are looking at the peculiar conditions of Section 115BAA. It can be a public or a private company. It could also be listed or unlisted. There is no restriction on the amount of turnover. Neither has been any threshold criteria specified. The shareholders of the company may be resident or non-resident. It can be an existing domestic company, or it can also be a newly incorporated company which is otherwise not opting for provisions of 115BAB, which decides to opt for Section 115BAA. So these are the typical conditions for Section 115BAA in addition to the criteria which we evaluated in the table. Moving on to the typical conditions applicable to Section 115BAB. Now, in this particular case, The difference here is that the assessee is a newly incorporated company. So the assessee is a domestic company. It may be a public company or a private company. It could be a listed company or an unlisted company. Again, there is no restriction on the amount of turnover, neither has any threshold criteria been specified. The shareholders of the company may be residents or non-residents. It is a newly incorporated company. The company has been set up and registered on or after 1st of October 2019, and it should have commenced its manufacturing or production activity on or before the 31st of March 2023. Additionally, this kind of company should not be formed by splitting up or reconstruction of an existing company, and the use of second-hand machinery in the total investment made in that particular asset, that is the machinery, etc., by the company, should not be more than 20%. So only up to 20% of the total value of investments made in machinery, it can be second-hand. If it is more than 20%, it will not be covered by these particular provisions of Section 115BAB. As an additional point to note, there are certain activities which have been excluded from the definition of the term manufacture or production for the purpose of this particular section 115BAB. So let us have a quick look at what are the activities which have been excluded from the scope of this section. So companies which are engaged in development of computer software in any form or media, companies which are engaged in mining activities, conversion of marble blocks or similar items into slabs, bottling of gas into cylinder, printing of books, production or cinematographic films have been specifically excluded from taking benefit of the concessional rate of 15%, which has been specified under this particular section. Also, there is an open-ended aspect left here that it could also include any other business as and when notified by the central government. So in the last slide before us, there is this particular chart which will give us a very quick and brief idea as to what are the tax rates at which certain income earned by these companies is to be taxed. So out of all the income here, we are now looking at the manner in which the tax liability for these entities would be computed. So any income which is from manufacturing activity or incidental income would be taxed at 15% or 22% as the case may be, increased by the mandatory rate of surcharge of 10%, further increased by the education cess at 4%. So this is the core activity of the company, and this is the activity from which whatever income is earned would be taxable at the concessional rate which has been specified by the regime. Any income which is not derived from manufacturing activity. For example, suppose the company has certain rental income or income from other sources in the nature of interest, etc., then this would be taxed at 22%, even for those companies which are otherwise liable to tax at 15% on the part of their manufacturing income, as increased by 10% surcharge, which is mandatorily applicable, further increased by 4% education cess, and this particular income has to be taxed on a gross basis. There would be no deduction in respect of expenses allowed in computation of tax in respect of this particular category of income. Moving further, since when we go and do an in-depth analysis of this section, you would know that if at all there is certain income which is not regarded to be at the arm's length price, so as to say the company has inflated its profit which is to be taxed at the concessional rate, and the assessing officer determines that particular income to be lower than what the company has stipulated it to be, then that difference is going to be taxed at the rate of 30%. So in a small illustration here, assuming the profit of a company is 15% as it is given by the company in respect of transactions which it enters with its associated enterprise, the income which is determined by the assessing officer in this particular context is 10 lakhs. So here the difference between 15 and 10, which is 5 lakhs, would be taxed at the rate of 30%, and only the amount which is determined by the assessing officer would be taxed at the rate of 15%. Lastly, any income which is covered by Chapter 12. So that is the typical income which is taxed at the specified rates of 112, 112A, long-term capital gain, short-term capital gain, etc. would be taxed at the rates which are mentioned in that particular section, as increased by the mandatory surcharge of 10%, further increased by the education cess of 4%. So this gives us a quick snapshot at the various rates of tax which would be applicable to different categories of income which is earned by the corporate assessee. So this was a quick recap and a quick reference to both the sections 115BAA and 115BAB, which would be relevant now since the return filing season for corporates is fast approaching. I hope you found the video useful, and for such more meaningful content, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is CA Prachi Parekh. Please like and share the video as much as possible, because knowledge is one thing which only increases when we share it. Thank you so much.